And I remember smartboards. Remember these things, these wonderful devices that were pitched as the be-all and end-all. How many millions, billions, not billions, millions of dollars were spent on smartboards and smartboard training? The things where you had to, put the pen in the four corners to align it before you could draw on it, but they were, could print out the things you wrote on, and they could record your voice, and just that, they are the poster child to me of tech for technology's sake in the classroom. How often do we get these kind of things where it's like we see these outcomes, and desirable things for teachers are to integrate technology into the classroom? Like, that is a thing apparently that good teachers should do. I am integrating technology into my classroom. I remember about a decade ago, and my biology teacher mate was using iPads in the classroom, and they're doing virtual dissections of a frog with an iPad, right, with a touchscreen. And I thought, man, that is so cool. I need to be doing something like that in psychology. That was the wrong thought process, right? The thought process should have been, wow, that's a cool thing. That serves that purpose in biology really well, right? And then if I had something similar in psychology, great. If not, I don't need to go and search for it, right? And I think that's what happens with technology a lot, where we see, and if you're a new teacher, please don't feel the pressure to integrate technology into your classroom unless it serves your outcome. Right, my fundamental purpose as a teacher is to teach cool shit that students will someday use. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. I just want to teach cool stuff that they're going to use one day. That's it. And so if the technology helps that outcome, if it helps me teach that cool stuff that one day they will use, then I will use that technology. But I'm not going to integrate it. I'm not going to use technology just for the sake of it. I often hear the argument as, well, these kids have to be technologically literate. They're going into this digital world, so they have to understand how these things work. I guarantee you they understand how these things work. And how they work will be so different by the time they actually get there. Now, what's fascinating is about 10 years ago, we had this, bringing into coding, right? We need to teach kids how to code because coding will be so important for the, for the future. Not really though, because what you've seen now is actually the progressions in technology have become so advanced that you don't need to know how to code to become a YouTube celebrity like this guy with the 75 subscribers, or how to make a blog, or how to create interactive websites. The computer nerds of the world have done that for us, and they've made it idiot-proof. So now, like, I can build an online store even though I don't know how to build an online store. And the point here is that teaching to, like, just using technology and integrating and having technological-based outcomes for the sake of having technological-based outcomes, I think is redundant. And it comes back to my big peeve about how we're trying to give teachers too much, right? And everything gets lumped onto us. I feel like as a teacher now, our role is, my next rant is going to be, teachers are not parents, right? And I feel like all the time we are having to pick up the slack of all of society's failings and dumping it on us and going, right, you guys have to prepare these kids for the future. Like, but then at the same time, we're saying, okay, learning is a lifelong process. So which one is it? Do you want us to fill their head full of stuff, that everything they need to know in the world by the time they're 18? Or do you want us to inspire a love of learning and realize, hey, by 18, this journey isn't going to stop and you've got the whole rest of your lives to learn this shit? I think it's the latter. So let's do less. Right, coming back to technology and smartboards. If your technology serves the purpose and you've got a great piece, like Kahoot is a fantastic example, and I don't think anyone should look down their nose at Kahoot because the kids love it. Now, it does get burned out if you do it every day, but that's a classic piece of technology that's really beneficial and it serves a very good purpose. Quizzes is another one that I like. I know it's funny, right, from a guy who does YouTube for fun, going technology is silly in the classroom. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we shouldn't feel the pressure to use technology just for the sake of using technology. And what I'd also like is that people, before they try to sell us or implement or encourage us to be using technology, like, use it for yourself first and try it for yourself first. This is why I would like to have a rule that any school where you're an administrator who has a direct influence on what happens in the classroom, you should have at least one class. I really would love to see that as a blanket policy. Now, I get there are people who do administrative and clerical work who don't actually have any influence on what happens in the four walls of a classroom, and that's fine. You wouldn't expect those people to teach. But I do feel like, right, that if you are having in a position of authority where you are having a direct say on policies that will influence practices that we do in the classroom, you should have your own class, because then I can easily turn around and say, you want me to do this, show me how. Because you obviously want me to do it because you know, I hope, it works. Not that you think it will work, but you know it will work. So I don't want to see it on paper. I want to see it modeled for me. Smartboards would have been a great example, right? You could have said, hey, we've got these smartboard technologies, learn how it works, right? I would have said, fantastic, show me. And I will be the first one to sit there in that PD session and learn how, and want to learn how to use it. Instead, what happened with Smartboards, right? They just became glorified projection screens, and people just brought in whiteboards on a wheelie. Or if you're like me in RBW, I just wrote on the wall with whiteboard marker because I just didn't want this bloody Smartboard. Again, it just became a projection screen. All right, that's my rant almost done. It was over a little bit over the show, but I feel like we get, and well-meaning teacher geeks like you watching this channel feel like you want to be doing the right things, and I'm the same, and we get this pressure put on us where we see these things and go, oh, in order for me to be a good teacher, I should be doing that. And I'm really boiling back my teaching back to the basics to going, I walk into a classroom and I want to teach cool stuff that one day kids will use. And everything else falls secondary to that. And I only ever focus on things if it's going to help me with that. Is whatever you're telling me, is whatever idea you're giving me going to help me teach kids cool stuff that one day they will use? I had 3 goes at recording a video earlier today on equity, because this is the word that's popped up in my recent application to get my teaching certificate in New Zealand. And I had that whole image of the kids here with the equality and the walls. And I just thought, you know what, this does not help me teach kids cool stuff that one day they will use. And I realized that this metaphor, this visual metaphor, is rather redundant. So maybe right now I'm going to stop this video and I'll record my next rant on equity.